Good morning, everyone. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Just before we get started, we have a few housekeeping items to go over. First, please note everyone is in listen only mode. Therefore, you will not be able to use your mic at this time. However, please type in your responses in the Q&A box. Any new content will have a visible blue dot on top of it. Closed captions are available for this session, as well as the option to potentially translate in 6 different languages. Please note there is a 10 to 15-second delay overall when using this Teams live platform. Lastly, this session is being recorded. You may access the recording as well as our other meeting documentation 3 days after this event concludes. Okay, over to Susan to begin our presentation. Enjoy.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so very much. I'd like to welcome everybody this morning. This is Susan Holcomb with the Family School Partnership Program, and I'm very honored this morning to introduce Mrs. Shawn Owen, who's the Deputy Superintendent for the Office of Federal Programs with the Georgia Department of Education. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. The last time I was here was back in September, and at that time we had been in the midst of the pandemic for about 7 months, and a large number of students were attending school virtually, which highlighted the need for digital equity, social emotional well-being of students, food security, and the importance of families and school districts working together to support students. Fortunately, at that time, we were rolling out CARES 1, which allocated $411 million to school districts. We're now 11 months into the pandemic, and we have made substantial strides across the states to assist students, educators, and families, and that certainly would not be possible without the collaboration and the partnership of everyone at this meeting today. We're now rolling out CARES 2, which allocates $1.7 billion, and yes, that's billion with a B, to districts, which is close to 4 times the original CARES to help with the impact of COVID. These have certainly been unprecedented times, requiring families and schools to diligently support and work together to support the students as they face these very challenging and a very adult type of circumstances that most of us are certainly have not been prepared for. We look forward to continued partnerships with you all as we navigate these waters together, and I want to thank you all so very, very much from the bottom of my heart for all of your work and for the passion and dedication that you have to the students and the families and educators of Georgia. And I also want to thank Susan, Dawn, Mandy, and Keisha for their hard work and collaboration. I hope you all have a wonderful meeting. And if there's anything that I can do in my role to support you all, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. So I'm going to hand this back over to you, Susan, and thank you again for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Shawn.
Yes, just like what Susan said, thank you so much, Shawn. It was such an honor to have you here with us today. Well, good morning, and let's get started. On our screen, most of you have seen this before, is our Georgia Systems of Continuous Improvement graphic. Of course, today we're focusing on the family and community engagement piece, and one piece or one aspect of the family engagement is building the capacity of our parents. Here on the screen, you're going to see a portion of our checklist for building capacity of parents, and in the yellow highlighted section is shall number 2. Shall number 2 focuses on materials and training to help parents work with their children to improve their academic achievement, such as literacy training and also using technology, which also includes education about the harms of copyright piracy. Today, I am so excited to share a new tool with you released by the US Ed that will assist you all in building the capacity of your parents by, in turn, sharing it with them. So recently, the U.S. Department of Education created a Parent and Family Digital Learning Guide. It's 26 pages, it's online, and it's ready to download or send out to your families. Even more recently, they released this tool in Spanish. On the screen, you'll see the cover of the English and the Spanish version of the Digital Learning Guide. Today, I want to give you a brief overview of this amazing tool and highlight some of its features. Once you download today's resources, you'll be able to click on the graphics, which will take you directly to the documents. As you go through this document, you'll see that it was created specifically for parents. The language throughout the guide speaks to them regarding their children. It's not necessarily written for educators, but it is our job to inform families of great resources and tell them how they can use it. So what can this guide do for our families? This guide is built to help parents, including those who have limited experience with digital tools, those who are familiar with digital tools, and everybody in between. This means that each section of the document will start with foundational pieces and will build from there. The Parent and Family Digital Learning Guide is broken into two parts. Part 1, the benefits of digital learning, and Part 2, enabling digital learning. At the conclusion of each section throughout the document, there are resources that go along with the content. The resources include guides with tips and tricks, digital tools, and instructional activities. Many of the resources include direct links for parents to access. Let's take a look at a few examples. Take a few seconds to scan these tips and tricks. As you can see, there are direct links to the resources. Some are familiar and some may be new to all of us. Here are some of the digital tools resources. Take a quick glance over those. And here are some of the instructional activities that are provided. Again, you'll find that these resources will be at the end of each section all throughout the digital guide. Again, some of the resources may be familiar to you and some may be new and something that you will be able to put into your work. So let's look at part 1, the benefits of digital learning. This section will explain 3 distinct benefits of digital learning. The guide tells parents that digital learning can help them and their child's teacher meet the specific needs of their child, understand their child's progress, and connect them and their child with their school community and beyond. Each benefit is explained along with questions parents may ask their child's teacher so they can take advantage of these benefits and the resources that are available. At the beginning of each section, the guide provides a 30-second overview of the upcoming content. Here you can see that benefit number 1 focuses on personalized learning. Take 30 seconds to read the overview of this section, and then I'll show you a small snip of content that you'll find in this section. This guide tells us that a one-size-fits-all approach to education does not work to address the uniqueness of each learner. Learning experiences should engage, honor, and challenge students and provide supported, tailored to address their individual strengths, needs, abilities, and interests. To personalize learning, the learning experiences and resources provided should be flexible and follow a sequence that builds upon skills that develop your child's confidence and motivation. You know your child best, and helping teachers understand your child is part of personalizing their learning. Teachers can use technology in powerful ways that support this personalization of learning. So this section gives 4 examples of ways that technology can be used to customize learning. Here on the screen is a snippet of one example, choosing a preferred learning environment. Benefit number 2 focuses on a competency-based learning. Go ahead and take 30 seconds to read the overview of this section, and I'll show you a small snip of content that you'll find from this benefit. Competency-based learning is also known as performance-based, mastery-based, or proficiency-based education. Here are some goals listed of competency-based education. Why do some find it beneficial? A competency-based system can be particularly flexible in working with disruptions. Competency-based systems value flexible learning environments where learning may happen at different times and in different spaces. The development of new skills can be independent of location, and students have the ability to pause or move ahead with their learning as needed. And benefit number 3 focuses on developing partnerships. Again, take 30 seconds to read the overview of this section, and then I'll show you a small snip of the content. So one example of connecting and building partnerships is for families to access social emotional support from their local community. The guide also provides a list of possible questions that parents can ask teachers and their school leaders. The second part of the guide focuses on enabling digital learning. Ensuring access to a device and the internet facilitates a more seamless transition between school and home. The guide states that having full access is ideal, but we know this isn't the reality for everyone. If your child has no device or only a smartphone, use the sections below as you find ways to obtain a device that will meet their learning needs. The first section in part 2 provides possible options for families to obtain a device for their child. The digital guide gives parents 3 different options for ways that they may possibly obtain some type of device for their child. Of course, we know that some districts are able to offer a one-to-one device to students or have other resources available in your community that you can share with your families that you work with on a daily basis. The second section in part 2 of the guide discusses internet service and possible ways to get their child connected. This section gives parents a couple of different options for ways to obtain internet access for their child. Again, we know that many districts have things in place to provide their students with internet access like hotspots, Wi-Fi enabled learning buses, or maybe even some partnerships with local internet providers. The last piece of the digital learning guide is all about internet safety, responsibility, and privacy. Remember back to my first slide where we looked at a piece of the building capacity of parents checklist. That highlighted section focused on copyright piracy. And this section includes information and resources on that specific topic. And once shared with families, you'll meet that section of your checklist. This section includes great information, including security settings, digital citizenship, password management, video conferencing, and of course, privacy policies. Lastly, this guide provides a section on the federal laws governing piracy and safety, FERPA, IDEA, and COPA. So, I hope you are now excited to dig into this awesome resource and start making plans to share it with your families. But before I hand it back over, I'd like to take you on a quick virtual tour of the document. Again, when you download these resources, you can click right on the cover of the family guides and it will take you directly to the document. Again, it is provided in Spanish. So my internet seems to be working with me this morning. It's taken just a second to get pulled up. And while it's doing that, I want you to notice that once it is up, over in the top left-hand corner, you'll see the graphic of the digital guide itself. Once you click on that, it will take you to a PDF version that you can print out, download, save. Of course, you can also share this report on your social media platforms. So this is the guide itself. It's the same information, it's just not the PDF version. The PDF version does give you some full graphics. It is just a little more user-friendly. Of course, from the English site, you can also click over here in the top right corner to access the Spanish version. The whole web page will be Spanish, and then it will look just like this with your document over to the left, and you can download the Spanish version. There's some great tools here and how to make the most of this guide. And then we go down into the parts that I did go over for you. The introduction, and then again, here are the 30-second overviews. And one of the best pieces that are available, again, that I mentioned, is after each section, families can open this box. This is questions to ask yourself, your child, their teacher, and school leaders. And this gives great prompts for parents. You know, sometimes our families are possibly insecure or they know what they need, they just don't know how to ask it. And so here are some great resource questions that parents can start a conversation with the educators in your building. And as always, those resources are there, the guides with tips and tricks. As you can see, as soon as I hover over that blue, those resources are all linked right there, one click away. The digital tools and the instructional activities. Just scrolling down through so you can take a quick peek. And then, of course, the endnotes include lots of resources and links to other sites with some reference information, and then everyone who had a hand in creating this. Let's go back. So I hope that you are excited to share this with your families. Again, this is a great tool to build not only the capacity of your parents by sharing and going over it, but to build the capacity of your staff and getting them familiar with this awesome tool. So I hope that you access this as soon as you get the resources and you dig right in. Coming up next is Dawn Scott, so please stand by.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue with the presentation. All right, so last November, we asked the question, how are you being virtually unstoppable? And as a result, we had 25 schools, districts, and even parents to answer the call and show forth their amazing virtual outreach methods. Afterwards, we had 6 schools receive the title of distinction, Family Engagement Ambassadors, and today we have 4 out of the 6 ambassadors to learn more about their projects and all of their promising practices for parent and family engagement. So let's go on a virtual field trip. Here's video 1 of 3.
Well, I'll tell you what inspired me to do the project is I attended in September your virtual meeting. And as we went, I got lots of ideas from your meetings that you had, but when we broke out into the breakout groups, we were able to share what we did as our counties. So I was talking about what our district did, and I'm brand new. I did not mention that. So I'm brand new to this role, and our school is targeted assisted, and next year we will be will be school-wide. So I'm very excited about that, but I am brand new. So what do you do when you don't know what to do? You collaborate with your friends here. So I didn't know that everybody didn't do what we did. So as I was talking about what our county did, I was just super happy when people were asking so many questions, and they just kept saying, you did what? And how did you do that? And how did you all know to do that? So I just was very inspired, and actually I was just super proud and impressed with what we already had in place. So since 2014, Forsyth County has been doing our inclement weather days online. So we have had that in our pocket, and we've had that kind of an experience. So we were able just to tweak that as we went along. And I guess that has given us just the footing that we needed to get where we were. So when I came back after that meeting, I was like, you guys, we really have it going on, and we should enter this contest. So they encouraged me to do that, and I did. So that was my inspiration.
I got the email from my program manager, I just knew we had to do it because we here at Rice Creek really like to think outside the box. We have a lot of really creative teachers who know how to do all the techie blue screen or green screen and all the fancy editing. So I brought it to their attention. I brought it to admin. They were like, absolutely, you guys have to do this. And we jumped right in and we sat around. It was myself, some of the gifted teachers, our administration, whoever was in the building. We all just kind of sat down, threw out ideas, and then there was a lead teacher on it. He took off. He said, you're going to stand here, do this, wear that, and there it was.
I felt like it was a movie production. I mean, it's like everything was just so well organized. And
he is very much a director.
Oh my goodness. And then talk about too, because I know your principal talked at the end. We had a lot of fun with that. Susan, I think that was your favorite part.
It was. Because I was in the school, I was a teacher before, and I thought, what a great principal. What a good sense of humor. Y'all are great actors. If you ever want to give up the school gig,
hey,
go into acting. I'm telling you, y'all did an amazing job. Amazing.
He would love to hear that. He is awesome. He is an amazing principal, really fun and funny. That's the vibe of our school, is just we're fun and we all really get along, and it's a good environment. It's a positive environment here for sure.
That the competition came out for us to do this, we happened to have something that had been collaborated between the Chamber of Commerce, the community, small businesses in Wayne County, and the school system. We have a couple of people that sit on the Chamber of Commerce, so we are always in the loop of what's going on in our community. And so since we knew what was going on, we had, first of all, it was called Scarecrows Among Us. And so we had the schools, different schools. One school, James Bacon, they did a Google Meets display so people could see the different ways that we were having to adapt to teach their children. And we wanted them to understand what was going on. So this was giving them a visual. One of the schools did an in-classroom and focused on Leader in Me, which is something that our whole county is a Leader in Me county. And so I got the bright idea of us using the downtown, the scarecrows, because I said nobody else has scarecrows, okay? So we're going to do that. And then we just, through collaboration, going back and forth, playing off of each other's ideas, it all seemed to come together But if it had been just one person out there on their own, I don't think we could have gotten everything together the way that we did. So that's how it came about, was from that. But there was really true collaboration, and that's how everything was put together. We used our cheerleaders, we used our band, we used our community, we used our businesses, and we used families. So we used all stakeholders, literally, when we did this project.
And I think that's really the definition of family and community engagement. And I love the fact that you all have someone to attend those business meetings so you can hear firsthand what's going on and be there to collaborate and partner together. That's amazing.
Dawn, the opportunity came at a time when we were knee-deep in reimagining what we needed to do to support our parents virtually because of the pandemic. We were on a high because we were doing some amazing things and had some great plans in place in our new normal. So when we saw the competition, we were like, yes, we just have to do this because we are already virtually unstoppable.
Yes.
Having the technology expert in the midst made it so much easier because we got into teams as a team and talked about what we wanted to do and how, the information we wanted to share. And Anne just went busy designing it. It was an absolute college level class for us to create our own emojis. Us that task. So, we were at varying levels, but we made it happen.
Absolutely. And then, you had a community, a board member in the beginning, and oh my goodness, he was so inspiring. I mean, I was inspired. I was charged. I was ready to go. Yeah. So do you kind of collaborate with your board members often?
We as a district family engagement team are very fortunate. I call it favor every day, all day long, because we have the support of every board member, our superintendent and her cabinet. At this point, every department, every regional superintendent, every principal are on board with family engagement. So at any given time, depending on the project we're working on, we can call on anyone. So that particular project that you saw our board member in, we were working on starting school back in August and wanted to motivate our families and our students to make sure that they saw that we were all in this together. So we wanted to start strong. And so we invited individuals who were alumni of the DeKalb County schools, and he happened to be one of them. And we just told him, speak your truth. Give us a message that is motivating to our students. And he came right out and did his thing. I think he only had one take, if you ask me, if I remember correctly.
I'm sure. Because when it's in you, right? And that comes out. And boy, did that come out in a powerful way. All right, outstanding. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that presentation. So if you have any questions, our facilitators, our ambassadors, they are more than willing to answer questions for you. Just simply send a email to them. We can connect you because it's going to take all of us basically to get through this together. So please, by all means, send us your contact information so that we can connect you to those individuals. All right, I think we have a break time, but before we do our break time, Susan's going to come on and see what kind of questions we have. Susan, over to you.
Thanks, Dawn. I appreciate that. Hi, everybody. There have been quite a few questions in the Q&A box. Some of those have related to not being able to have access to the chat box. That's okay. I'm monitoring both of those. And if it's an individual question, I've just been responding to those back in the Q&A. If there's something that is pertinent to the group, I've been publishing those. If you look in your question box, you'll just be able to type in and we'll be glad to answer your questions. I think the primary question we've been receiving is, will this information be available? Where's the link to the digital guide? All of that information is going to be forwarded out to you along with a recording of this meeting today, so that if you don't have an opportunity to listen to all of it today, if you have to go step out for a minute, you'll have access to that later on. And Dawn will get that information out to everybody probably within about 3 days. It takes a little while for things to download and for us to put that together where we can get it sent out. If you're having any technical difficulties, Dawn, do you want to let everybody know where they can get information if they have any or experience any technical difficulties?
Susan, as far as technical difficulties accessing the files, they can just simply email me.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. And I think that was it. We've had a lot of folks on. There are people from all over the state. Thank you all so much for typing in your name and typing in where you're from. We have a great representation today, so thank you. Now we have about 14 minutes left in our break. If you have any other questions, please type them in. We'll talk about them during the next break, or I will respond to you as we go. But for right now, go ahead and enjoy the rest of your break. We'll see you back here very shortly. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back everyone from your break. Our first guest presenters are from the Jones County School District, Executive Director of Federal Programs, Charlotte Foskey, and District Family Engagement Coordinators, Melanie Nabel, as well as Shelley Dunlap. They will be presenting to us today on the topic of maintaining connections in a virtual world. Charlotte and team, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us this morning. I'm so excited to be here with our team. Again, I'm the Executive Director of Federal Programs in our district. Our district has 7 schools and we have about 5,200 students. We have 2 family engagement coordinators and they're here with us today, Melody Nebel and Shelley Dunlap. And we just wanted to share with you some of the strides we've taken to continue to maintain those connections that we have with our families and with our community throughout this time of social distancing. And right now our policy is no volunteers or anyone can come on our campuses except for our students, but our students have been on campus since August 17th. They had a choice of virtual or face-to-face, and right now about 90% of our students are on campus and about 10% are still taking advantage of our virtual academy. But to tell you more about what we've been doing, I'm going to turn this over to Melody and Shelley.
Good morning, and thank you for having us with you this morning. We did want to offer a disclaimer about the fact that Melody and I are sitting here beside each other. We're not practicing social distancing, but we do serve all 7 schools in our district, and we often travel together in the car. So we've decided we've sort of nicknamed ourselves Shelledy almost, just because we are together so much of the time. So social distancing isn't as big a concern for the 2 of us, but just rest assured when we leave this room, we will be wearing our masks. But with that, we will go ahead and talk to you a little bit about the things that we've done this year. You know, we knew that coming into this year, family engagement was going to look very different. And we decided early on that we had an opportunity to embrace this time, even though it was a time of uncertainty, and make a shift toward building a virtual toolbox for our families and for our community in terms of family engagement. We knew that in the past, our focus had been largely on those face-to-face family events and interactions, and that often took so much of our time that we didn't focus as much on building that virtual toolbox, and we knew that that was an area that we were lacking in. So we thought this would be an opportunity to embrace that while we had more time to focus on that. And so in terms of doing that, we've utilized lots of digital resources. We're going to share some of those with you today. We've embraced some interactive online events, and in doing so, we've really redefined our roles as family engagement coordinators throughout the district. And in doing that, we've learned that communication is really critical. Our roles look very different now than they did a year ago at this time. And so we've found that communicating how our roles have changed has been critical to our success. One of the first things that we embraced early on was our virtual academy. Ms. Foskey mentioned that a number of our students chose virtual academy, and in fact, more students chose virtual academy for the first semester than we have currently enrolled. And we had a much greater interest in it than we anticipated during semester one. So as we rolled out virtual academy, it became apparent early on that many of our families were struggling with trying to navigate the platform. We have a number of grandparents in our community who are raising, and even great-grandparents who are raising grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And so often that part of our society is a little bit less tech savvy, we found. And so sometimes they would have difficulty with navigating the platform in virtual academy. So early on, we started having face-to-face Zoom sessions, or face-to-face sessions rather, with these families to try to help offer them some technical support as they navigated the platform. Those grandparents were functioning as learning coaches, but seemed to be rather overwhelmed with the technology piece of that. So during semester one, I'll just be honest, our role was very reactive. We were troubleshooting. We were trying to learn the platform alongside the families and help them. But that transitioned in semester two. And I'm going to let Ms. Nebel tell you more about how our role has shifted this semester.
So the first semester obviously taught us some things. We wanted to be more proactive with our virtual families, not reactive. So we had a good many, a lot of our families went from the virtual academy back to in-person learning, as Ms. Foskey mentioned, but we did have some families who chose to go from in-person to the virtual academy. So they were all required to meet with one of us via Zoom, so that we could explain the platform and how to correctly download and upload assignments. We felt like it was very important to do that up front versus later on. And we also met with students and families who had not done very well first semester with the virtual academy. And we wanted to meet with them to make sure they knew exactly what to do to get them off on the right foot for the second semester. And now our virtual teachers are actually contacting us very regularly to help support those students who may not be progressing through the platform as well as they should be, or who are not completing assignments, or who may still be having a little bit of trouble uploading and downloading those assignments. We've noticed it depends on the device that they're using. So this way we're staying on top of those things with the virtual academy. And we're, of course, always looking for some more ways to communicate. And so we actually create our Jones County Family Engagement newsletter every month using the SMORE platform. And Ms. Dunlap's going to pull up our February newsletter. And each month we have a different focus. For instance, back in August, we focused on the importance of our regular attendance, COVID guidelines, a checklist for our families, while January focused on setting goals and establishing routines to help support those goals, considering we were, beginning mid-year. And then this month is all about, as you can see, heart health, from eating healthy to exercising to ways to show love and appreciation. We even have the 5 love languages on there. So we have lots of resources for our families each month. And then we also publish a family engagement newsletter for our Jones County Virtual Academy families. This newsletter is geared more toward home learning including tips for online learning and many other resources to help these families. In fact, we actually linked the Parent and Family Digital Learning Guide that Mandy talked to us about this morning. That's located on there, and then we're going to break that apart starting next month for our families to show them exactly what's included in that. And then additionally, we are sending out a teacher tips newsletter just for our classroom teachers. This month, we are focusing on self-care because we all know that that is hardest for our educators to take care of themselves first. But now it's more important than ever. And we also like to include some ways to help them improve working with families. So for instance, this month, we are focusing on better communication. And before the holidays, we focused on how to help students manage holiday triggers and stress, or how to help teachers help students to manage that holiday stress. So that gives you some things that we've done with the SMORE platform. And now, as far as building parent capacity, we offer our families a Bitmoji Parent Resource Center. And this is where parents can find resources about, and Ms. Dunlap's pulling that up for us, but you know, parents can find resources about mental health, academic resources for, and we've divided those with K-5 and then 6-12 resources. Gosh, there are resources for our virtual academy students, online safety resources. All of our newsletters are linked here. Gosh, the Jones County Virtual Academy homepage, the district calendar, as well as links to our face-to-face sessions where they can book us. Every Friday we of course meet with families on days other than Fridays, but we offer those in-person sessions every Friday in 2 locations. And then we have our parent resource rooms for each school. And I shouldn't say each school, it's our elementary schools. Ms. Dunlap has pulled up our Turner Woods Elementary School Parent Resource Room. This year, you know, parents aren't able to come on campus like normally. So Shelley and I decided we needed an online parent resource room, especially for each of our elementary schools. We went into each of those parent resource rooms, the physical rooms, to take inventory of what each school actually had. And we realized pretty quickly that many resources had never even been taken out of the packages. So we knew that they had not been checked out previously. So we felt like this was because no one knew what was in there. So what we did, we went through some things we actually put back into the hands of teachers, into the classrooms, because we thought it was better suited there. But then a lot of the things we took and we just cataloged it. We took pictures, we have what the games look like, brief description of the games, and you know, the grade level, and then we have a little button there at the top where they can request, they can click that, go to a form to request a resource to be checked out to them. That form shoots an email to the media specialist and they're able to do that and check that out for them. And then we've also we've gotten this out through our newsletters and through our just flyers, but we've also met with each of the teachers at each of the elementary schools to push this out to parents and help them find a resource that will help them at home. And so now Ms. Dunlap's going to talk to you a little bit about our virtual parent events.
Early on this year, we realized that obviously face-to-face events weren't going to be an option. So we started thinking about ways that we could engage our families virtually. And the first event that we rolled out was our Title I annual parent meeting. And we decided to offer our families some options. We used the SMORE platform, which we used for our newsletters that you saw a moment ago. And we gave our families information about ways to access the annual Title I parent meeting. They could choose to come to a live session with us and interact via a Zoom. We also posted online a voiceover presentation that they could just view at their leisure. And then because we were missing that face-to-face interaction, I think it's hard as family engagement coordinators to not have that interaction with our families. We decided that we had a captive audience at our football games. And so we did a meet and greet at the football games where we just handed out flyers that had the QR code to the meeting so that people, again, would know that the Title I the Title I annual meeting was out there and that they could go view that again at their leisure. Another thing that we pushed out was our grade level curriculum orientations. We'll look at that very briefly, but what we challenged each grade level to do, K through 8, and then departments at the high school, was to create a presentation for our families in lieu of coming in. Normally that would have been a curriculum night, but obviously that wasn't possible. So we wanted to try to give them a one-stop shop. Here's what the information, the most critical information you need to know about your child's class. Here's some scheduling. And of course, the contact information was critical so that we could maintain that two-way communication and parents knew how to contact the school with any concerns. Most recently, we have engaged in a virtual family math night. All of our elementary schools were invited to, we offered 2 nights that they could choose from to accommodate their scheduling needs. And over the course of those 2 nights, we had about 160 folks sign in the guest book. You kind of see a little screenshot there of that virtual family math night, and the families could interact online. They posted pictures of their origami. They made comments about the What Do You Notice chart, and they had virtual sticky notes that they applied to that chart. And so that was very successful. We've had a lot of great feedback. And in fact, as Melody and I have talked about it, we feel like our participation was probably better than it would have been at a face-to-face event in terms of the number of folks who actually interacted. And our families were interacting with math at home. So it was, you know, it really built that parent capacity to help our families understand how math applies in their everyday world and how they're surrounded by it in their homes. What we are currently planning a virtual family science night for our middle school families. We're working with a local university, Georgia College and State University in Milledgeville is partnering with us through their science department. And we're going to offer, again, an interactive event on 2 nights in February for our middle school families, February 18th and 23rd. Those families who RSVP will get packets of materials. And then those who may miss the RSVP will still push out flyers with the list of materials, and they'll be able to view the event and interact at home with that. We're working currently with our high school on pushing out something for virtual registration and college and career awareness for our families. You know, we feel like it's critical. Our families don't always realize what's required for high school graduation. And right now our students have so many options to make graduation happen. So we just want to make sure that our families are aware of the options that are out there for our families. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Foskey.
Well, as you can tell, hearing what our family engagement coordinators have shared, they have been very, very busy this year. But I'll be honest, at the very beginning of the year, one of the most asked questions from administrators in our district was, well, what are the family engagement coordinators spending their time doing? Because you can't have family members here, so what are they doing? Can they come teach kids? And I was like, whoa. They're very busy, but it prompted what you see on the screen now. We felt like we needed to be very transparent in what we are doing. So we compiled data. Our first report came out at the end of September, and it was all of the interactions we had had with families via email, phone calls, text messages, in person. We've also some months had home visits listed because we have made some home visits, and then the number of visits we've made to each school, and then just a brief description of exactly what those activities are that the family engagement coordinators have been doing on behalf of those schools, because I feel like it's important that the administrators understand they're not just doing this to fill their time. They're doing it for the students there at their schools. So I think this has helped a lot. We haven't had any more questions about what they're doing all day because they, you know, the administrator may only see the family engagement coordinator briefly here and there. So without communicating clearly back to the schools, they may not know what's going on with family engagement. And this has helped us a lot. So I hope you've enjoyed what we've presented to you today. I hope it's been helpful and inspiring. And if you have any questions, please reach out to any of us and we'll be happy to answer them for you.
As a matter of fact, this is Susan again. We do have a few questions that have come in, mostly a lot of compliments that we wanted to share with you all.
Thank you.
Great job y'all are doing. And they wanted to know, first of all, could they have your contact information? I think you're going to be getting some requests for more details and specifics. And then there was one specific question about what web service that you were using to create the workable newsletters. They said that was so very well put together. I think they're wanting to copy some of what you all are doing. So if you wouldn't mind, either send that information to us, or I see your contact information is up here, and that will be included when we send out information and as it's available on our website. But just kind of a heads up, you know, once you tell folks you've got a good thing going, and you know, they want to also be able to use that with their families as well. So thank you all so much for sharing today. And
Thank you for having us.
Amazing job. So we do appreciate it. And I know everybody listening today has enjoyed it as well. So thank you all. All right, Dawn, take it away. Thanks, guys.
All right. Yes. Just outstanding information. You know, Jones always send me their parent activity guide. So that's how I'm able to find out what they're doing. And every time they send it, it's so detailed. It shows, you know, their virtual outreach and the newsletters that they're sending out. And I'm just always amazed. So I was like, oh, we have to have them come. We have to have them to be a part of this presentation. So thank you all so very much. Okay, you guys, we are now ready for our second Family Engagement Ambassador video. So here's video 2 of 3.
We, with APGT, it has surprised all of us that our participation was greater doing it virtually than it was in person. And we were really excited about that. And so that goes back to what Erica was talking about. It's just the fact that a parent could go in and sit down and watch it when they have the time instead of on our time and our schedule. It just, the virtual, we can look at it in a negative way, but we choose to look at it in a positive way because it gives our families so many different options.
Absolutely. Yeah. I all have been implementing the academic parent-teacher team model of family engagement for several years. So you certainly do know about, you know, what you're speaking in terms of your participation and all that. So thanks for sharing that part.
Well, I think the biggest part of that is the opportunity to reach across each of our departments. I'm going to ask Latanya to talk about that some, because she gets really excited about talking about breaking down the silos. We have not asked any department to do anything that they have not done. As a family engagement team of 6, you know, it's impossible for us to accomplish the things that we have accomplished, just the 6 of us. So we are good at collaborating. So Latanya, if you talk more about that cross collaboration, that would be great.
As we know, we've been doing this work for a while, and it is about relationships. It's not just about the relationships with the parents. It's about, Dawn, you just said something. If it's in you, it's in you. And I know that many of us bring to this work people skills. And what I credit Marcia with is being able in the interview to hone in on what our specific personal skills are, interrelatable skills. And so because we have fostered those relationships throughout the district, going to principals, you know, walking up to them and saying, hey, I've been trying to call you, couldn't get you on the phone, but I see why you're out here in the schools, and just start moving cones in the front while they're doing it. If we need to talk to someone, we're going to walk with you. Can I walk with you to your meeting? It's being able to pivot and being able to be relatable in any set. When we meet them, it's about having your elevator pitch ready, and that's another thing Marcia brings home. So I may have been trying to get you on the phone, and I just happen to be on the other side of the building, and I see you walking. Right then, I'm going to say, hey, as the director of innovation, school innovation, I had an idea. I want to talk to you about it really quickly. Can I walk with you? And they're not going to say no. And then we follow up. And then we invite them down to the hub when we have things like Wellness Wednesday, so that everybody in the district, along with our parents, can relax. But we make it a point to engage every stakeholder in everything that we do. And we've been able to break down silos that other departments or other districts have not, because we've asked of them, but we've also given to them when they've asked of us, and it's created a really great collaborative relationship.
Well, I will say that our county is very blessed to have the technology that we do. We have an abundance of technology. So one of the challenges is a lot of our families feel like they're inadequate when it comes to technology and using it. So we've worked a lot with training them on to be experts. We have trained our students to be experts on technology and to maneuver through everything that they need to do. We have digital days that the teachers work with them on that. So what I do and what our team does is we try to also have our parents become experts. So we actually have enough Chromebooks for each student to have their own. And so I have gone out to homes and I have trained them on that. And so one of our biggest challenges too is that we have a very high Spanish speaking community. And so a lot of times they don't feel like they can put anything like towards the school, or they don't feel like they fit in. And so we work really hard on that. So anything and everything we do is always in Spanish. And so like for Meg, so our clientele is different. So we always piggyback on each other, and with Sarah as well. I have probably the most challenge with Spanish speaking families. So like for Meg's Facebook Fridays, I love them, but it's also hard for us to do because the majority of our families are Spanish speaking. And so that is just a whole nother level that we have to figure out too. But I would say that the challenge is just that right now the parents can't come in. And so we hold virtual check-ins with parents, and we just try really hard to figure out how we can help them with using the technology, because it's not going anywhere. This year we have found that I think this might be a new way of doing things even after this COVID situation. So, I don't know, we're just trying to help our parents just understand that you don't have to be scared of technology. It's actually a wonderful thing. So, and we're here to help you, and we have all the resources. You just have to reach out and let us know what you need.
Virtual learning is challenging. These families are frustrated. Sometimes there's some gaps with, knowing the tech. But there's one thing though that I think is just obvious, is the kids nowadays are so tech savvy. They know all things Google, Twitter, Insta, all the things. I have a teenage boys myself, so they are like, Mom, you have to do this. It's the Instagram. What? I don't know what that is. Okay. So I think when it came to the challenges with the families, maybe not understanding or having some issues, we went to the students and we said, hey, show your mom where to go, or grandma or grandpa, show them where to go. You know how to get there, so show them. So through the students themselves has been just very successful.
Hey, having the outlook to look at these challenges as an opportunity to improve your program, improve your processes, and to build a better, more honest relationship with the families. I mean, we've had to say to parents, I do not know that answer. This is new to me, but we will figure it out together. And just being honest with the parents, and it seems to help build the relationship in a more positive light, having to go through these challenges together.
I think one thing that we've learned, and it's a motto in Wayne County, is that collaboration. Anybody could come up with an idea like I thought of the scarecrows, but it didn't ever come together. So if it hadn't been for collaboration with everybody, you can take true collaboration. And I feel like as our family engagement program in Wayne County, that we have honestly truly learn the meaning of collaboration and feeding off of one another. And if we do that, we know that the products or the whatever we put out for people to see is going to be a great product. And that's because we have so many eyes looking at it and some people have an input into it that we are proud of what we put out. And so in Wayne County, our little saying for the chamber and everything is together we achieve more. And so we're real proud to say that as Wayne County, we do achieve more when we work together.
Yeah. And that's not just a school money, that's the whole community.
Whole community.
What a wonderful tribute to the county. Thank you all.
And that's even with our federal programs department and the Georgia Department of Education. Our whole model is innovation, collaboration, and support. So I think everyone is on that same wavelength of we got to come together to make this work.
Words of wisdom that I would have for other schools is just to stay visible during this time as the family engagement coordinator for your building principals, because those families need to see us. And I think it's really easy during a pandemic to sit behind a computer and create great things, but they need to see our faces and our smiles. And that's what I've learned during all this. And if I can do that, then they'll do the academic part. That comes naturally. So we do Facebook Friday Show, Virginia mentioned, and it's definitely different here than at her school because we're about 80% English speaking and just 20% Spanish speaking. But that's a great way to stay visible. And we've really started doing a lot of them just recording Teams meetings like we are doing right now and posting that as our Facebook Friday Show. That way we don't have to wear a mask or a shield and people can see our smiles. But just having a weekly check-in where people can find out something maybe new or get tips. My favorite one's coming out this Friday. We have a family and there's 4 children and there's little ones and they're playing with the mom's hair and she's answering questions about reading and APTT and why to come, and it's hilarious. But it's just be a team and have them on there. So just staying visible has been big, and staying visible with our Spanish speakers through those teachers.
Wow, great information. I hope you all are enjoying our video series. We have one more to show after lunch, but now it's time for our program updates. Okay, so typically we do our updates at the end, but we thought we'll switch it up and give it to you now so you can learn of all of our amazing parent and family engagement opportunities. So first up is our family engagement courses. Yay, they are now available. We've received plenty of emails of where are the courses. Well, the courses now have a new home within the SLDS. And you may recall that last time it was a part of Georgia Learns. Georgia Learns is gone, but you should have easy access to all of your courses within the DOE SLDS platform. So let's check out how to access those amazing courses. For starters, visit our website to click on the displayed image. Here's an example of a course graphic along with the instructional flyer to access the SLDS. Once you log into the platform, find your district and press enter. You will then be redirected to the portal's main page. Press PL from the top menu options. Now you're into the PL course catalog. You will notice that there are 93 courses available. To find the family engagement courses, simply type in FVP and hit the magnifying glass. Our 4 courses pops up immediately. You will notice if you hover over the title, a full description appears. Now it's time to register. When you're ready to begin, click the course to be redirected to the module. Let's take a look at the job responsibilities content subtitles. You have a Getting Started section, the lesson itself for job responsibilities, a discussion board, and the opportunity to take the final assessment. As before, When you pass your course, you will receive a completion badge. Okay, so you have any questions regarding our courses or need additional troubleshooting help, please contact us. All right, so as mentioned before, we have a new resource available called the Family Engagement Community. This is a free platform that allows you, our family engagement partners, to dialogue with each other. Share your ideas, share documents. This is your platform. So to sign up, simply find our channel and make a request to join. If you need assistance, again, please feel free to reach out to us. And as a follow-up, our partnership opportunities with Gpb and Nasa are still available. You may recall last time the Georgia Department of Education partnered up for the Georgia Home Classroom, which is a premier source for aligned learning plans that use plugged as well as unplugged activities. Also, GPB has recently released their K-12 remote learning plans, ready to go, available for you to use. Also, the teachers are doing something called Let's Learn Georgia. So all these resources are available on their website. NASA provides ready-to-go templates and lesson plans to engage families. So they're looking for schools to partner and pilot their resources. So ultimately, take advantage of these free opportunities. They have information in English as well as Spanish. So Power Tips is returning next fall. So as you know, we premiered the video segment a couple years ago to provide you with quick, powerful, impactful ideas and strategies to implement your work in the field. And in fact, I'm sure we have several individuals who are online with us today who are featured on the channel. So a big thank you to those districts and schools. And if you want to be featured, please feel free to reach out to us. Early fall, you can look forward to our specialist, Mandy Griffin. She'll be starting off our power tip with a on the topic of copyright piracy. So something to look forward to. Lastly, mark your calendars for these exciting opportunities. First, if you have a parent who serves on Superintendent Wood's Parent Advisory Council, their next meeting is on March the 22nd. Mandy is the contact for that meeting. And if anyone is interested in starting APTT for the first time in their LEA, please contact Susan Holcomb to receive additional information on the request to participate form. Training for new selected schools is tentatively scheduled for May the 19th. And this summer, I'll be developing a new course for building staff capacity within our SLDS platform. So if your district or school, maybe you already have something developed, if you have something, please feel free to share that so that we can possibly highlight it during the course. And lastly, beginning in fall, we will start the application process again for the third cohort of schools for the Family Friendly Partnership School Initiative. You may recall our district launched this initiative back in the summer of 2010 to assist Title I schools, families, and communities in working together to create welcoming environments. And hopefully, yes, we plan on partnering again with Chick-fil-A. Last year, we had a phenomenal time. We went backstage. Superintendent Woods was there with us, and we heard also information about customer service and creating welcoming environments. So remember, we cannot get a lot of schools. We can have maybe up to 6. So just remember to apply early and just know that we'll be here to support you afterward. All right, and to see all of our federal program opportunities, please visit the display link for the Year at a Glance calendar. And that has concluded our first half of virtual meetings, and we're going to turn it over to Susan, because Susan, I think you have some additional questions.
Well, not necessarily additional questions, thanks, Dawn, but I did want to share with everybody that we greatly appreciate all the wonderful comments. I just wanted to share this with my team as well, that we've been getting a lot of good positive comments about, oh, this is beneficial. I want to use this in my district. Can we get more information? And I just wanted to remind everybody that all of this information, all of the resources will be available on our website, and the information will be coming. The session is being recorded, so if you missed part of it, I know a few folks had some technical difficulties, so just know that it will be available and you'll be able to watch it or be able to share it with folks in your districts as well. The other thing, I've had a few questions about, can we share this with our parents? Absolutely, most definitely. Feel free to share any of this information with school staffs, with your parents, with whomever you would like to. That's what it's here for. And it's just been very reinforcing to see your comments. And I wanted to share that with Dawn and Mandy, our wonderful family engagement specialists here in Georgia. And let us, just to know that, this is why we're doing this session today, is to put resources and information in your hands that you can use in your districts and in your schools. So thanks. Take it away, Dawn.
Okay, everyone, it seems that we are early, which is fine. Our lunch break begins at 11 o'clock, so you just have additional time that you can go in and check emails and do other work. So lunch is from 11 to 12, and we'll see you back here promptly at 12, and I'm starting our countdown timer now. Enjoy your break. We have our final video from our family engagement ambassadors.
Okay, so the first thing I think I want to show is our actual family engagement website. So as family engagement facilitators, I think it's important that we put the content that we're sharing in our own hands and the timeline as well. So I'll start with Google Sites. This is our family engagement Google site website. It's a one-stop shop, which I think is incredibly important to make it easy for families to navigate. On this website, they can go and find any possible thing that we discuss at the school, to include Title I documents. And I think that's really important, but I'll get to that. So the front page, they can come get more information on myself, how to email me. And over here, it's just links. So we have quick links to what is Title I, the Title I documents, different resources, community resources. Virtual learning help is a big one. This is where those videos that I told you we customized for our school, you can find those on here. They're right here. And we did a whole series on Power School, It's Learning, all the different virtual platforms that we're utilizing here in Savannah-Chatham. So they can come here, and if you notice, they don't have to click out of this website to get the information. They are here. This is the home. This is where they go and find everything. They do not have to leave. So I'm scrolling within the site. I don't have to go anywhere else. And I think that's huge. So let's see. One way though, Title I, and this is where we post all of our pictures of the fun stuff that we do.
Yes, looks like a lot of fun.
Lots of fun. This was the trunk or treat. It's a lot of fun. But so for the Title I documents, I know that's huge for a lot of us facilitators, and trying to find a way to make it easy, getting the compacts out and back and all of that. Right here, if they go here, they can actually view all of the documents that we send out. And they can scroll, again, right here on their phone, on their website. They don't have to leave. And then if they come down here, they can view our compacts and all of that. And when they scroll up to the top, they can fill out their compact and policy acknowledgement form right on the website. They don't have to leave. So they just fill this information out, and there you go. I turn this into my program manager, and I've met that capacity. It's that simple.
Wow.
So that's really helpful, I think. Yes. Now, a quick way to get to this, I know one of the things was how to use QR codes and bit.ly links. QR codes are quick response codes. You might have seen them. They look like this. They're those weird little barcode things. These are really helpful because a lot of kids, students, or even parents, guardians have smartphones, and all they have to do is open up their camera app and hold it over this little code, and it scans it, and it takes them right to where they need to go. So let's see. If I go here, I can give some examples of ways we've used them. You can customize your QR codes to be fun. You can put little pictures in it. Right now, with COVID-19, there's a lot of things going on. So to answer the check-in questions and things, QR codes are very helpful. You can blow them up on huge poster paper and have them outside your school or all around your school with different information, so parents can just go by and scan them. And it's no touch, COVID friendly, all of that. And then if they need to sign up, if you have Google Forms or sign-up sheets, you can make a QR code that links them directly to that as well. As what a bit.ly is, let's see, I have an image on that. So a bit.ly is a shortened URL. And I know it's a lot of techie stuff, but it can be really beneficial if you look into it. So a bit.ly is a shortened URL. So typically you'd see a website link that looks like this, www.1,000,000 letters / numbers. If you go to bit.ly, you can transform that link into something small. So something that originally would have looked like this now is simple. It just is bit.ly, bit.ly/RCS, and that'll take you wherever you want to go. Another really cool thing that bit.ly does is it measures the clicks and where they are coming from, where their origin is. So we put a lot of effort into creating social media flyers, videos, all of that, but it's interesting to see how effective are they? Who are they reaching? Is that the best avenue for advertisement? So when you make a bit.ly link, you go onto the bit.ly website in the back end of it, and you can see where they clicked, how many times they clicked. That's helpful because if I've spent, a few hours making a video and it only had 2 clicks from Facebook, but it had 50 from my website, I then know in the future that advertising on my website might be a little more beneficial. I'll still advertise on both, but I might push it or advertise more on the website. So that can be really helpful as well. Let's see.
It's very nice, very good information. Definitely something that we use, some of them as well. So yes, we can definitely.
It's really helpful.
Yeah.
Tech is, it's crazy. I'm not used to it all, but I'm learning. I'm learning as I go. The kids are teaching me, the students show stuff. So it's nice. It's sometimes hard to, you don't want to, okay. So the Google site, to me, why it's beneficial is you might have your normal school Facebook page or website. You might not want to clutter that with a lot of the different flyers and things that get sent to us, but you still want to put that information out. Having a separate website or a link where parents can go, you can put as much of the fun stuff as you want, but you're not losing the important messages that maybe need to go on the registered school site. So I think, that's helpful as well. One last thing, since I went through the QR codes, the bit.ly links, and the Google sites, that sponsorship letter that I was talking about earlier, if anybody wants to pause it to look, this is kind of what we throw out there. So it's the whole congratulations, you put it on your letterhead, put your hashtag, and it just goes through and explains that we are a Title I school, and these are the ways that you can help. So we send that out, and we get people to want to help us.
And welcome to our virtual Impact Hub. I use Google Slides to create the Impact Hub because it's convenient, it's accessible, and it's free. So everybody can do something like this. This serves us as a way to have all these great resources in one place. So here we have a link to our website that was created this year. We have a link to our catalog. This is a catalog of services with 42 pages where we list all our workshops for this year. Our news document, this magazine for the school reopening plan with useful information for our parents. Here we have the link to the resources pages with a list of community partners and collaborators where the parents can go and have access to their website. The Contact Us page, you will find information about our team as well as the Title I facilitators per regions. Also, we have the Facebook link, Twitter, YouTube. Please visit us and follow us. That's important. We have the videos of our Superintendent Watson Harris. If you want to know more about our team, you can click here for this video. And this is a highlight video of our Family Empowerment Conference. Back in November, we have a week of conference, 24 workshops. We have 4 workshops every day. One of the sessions was, we use interpretation services for our parents. We decided 6 p.m. was the best because most parents were available at that time, and it was great. We have a great participation from our parents. And of course, as a diversity and inclusion advocacy liaison, I have to include my international families. So we add these Hola Amigo windows where parents can go to the international room. Here we have resources in other languages, the YouTube channel. This is a playlist with all the videos that we have in different languages. We have Amharic, Arabic, Burmese, Spanish, Swahili videos in this playlist. This is the link to the registration form for one of our workshops. It's called Welcome to DCSD, Exploring Our School District. This is intended to educate our parents to know how our district work and empower them. Again, another link to one of our wonderful workshops that was facilitated in Spanish. So this is a link to a family town hall that we had back in December, and it was interpreted in Spanish. We have that multi-platform system that we use, streaming from Zoom to Facebook, from Zoom to Teams Live. I have a quick presentation here that I can show you how we do that. I might just give me 1 second. Okay, so how we use a multi-platform system to provide interpretation. Wow. Zoom provides the interpretation feature, but it can be costly. It's easy to manage, but you have 100 attendees. Other than that, you will have to pay extra. So we use Zoom to host the meeting. And then we stream to Facebook, stream from Zoom to Facebook to reach more people. Simultaneously, we have an active Teams Live event with a producer, interpreter, and a tech support person. So we need at least 3 people to be able to do this. The tech support person will be in Zoom and Teams, sharing the screen from Zoom. That person needs to be muted. We have the producer who will be in Zoom, Teams Live, and Facebook. So we'll be in the 3 platforms. The producer will share the tech support person screen to the Teams Live feed. And the interpreter needs to be in Zoom and Teams Live, listening from Zoom and speaking to the Teams Live attendees in the target language. So that's how we do the multi-platform interpretation system. Any question?
Wow, I'm just in awe over here.
I know Dawn just took a lot of notes.
I'm going to go back and watch this video myself several times. I mean, it's just a very creative way of reaching out again to those families. So you're saying basically they're in another team's room with an interpreter, and they're getting that information in their home language, while you also have the other events that's in English all at the same time.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's big time.
And we have the viewers in Facebook.
And viewers in Facebook.
There you go. But here, you got to see this one. All right.
Please. Yes.
Here we go.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So here we go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's cute.
Oh, really? Fascinating.
And then here, this is, I did just, this is kind of cool. This is a new little, it's called My Simple Show, and it talks about how our AP
Forsyth County school system, engaging families virtually.
But as we go along,
Prior to the APT team meeting, Families that are learning remotely are encouraged to use a drive-through type service at the school to pick up their materials. Families that are unable to come to the school to pick up APTT supplies may have them delivered by staff directly to their doorstep. Teachers carefully plan the APTT meeting to encourage virtual parent engagement. During the virtual APTT meeting, parents and teachers meet as a class or grade level in a Microsoft Teams meeting. There are interpretation services held simultaneously in breakout rooms, providing other reasonable support needed. The teachers model foundational skills and games being taught their students in a video. This will be easily accessible to parents and students after the meeting, allowing makeup sessions to be easier than ever. APTT surveys and student goal sheets are filled out online via Google Forms, giving the school and teacher needed feedback. Parents are asked to send in pictures of them being engaged with their students with the APTT games and activities. These are posted on the school's social medias.
All right, could you all hear all that?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I hit the right thing. So, and then this is just a really kind of cool sheet that was inspired by what these ladies do that our each class does. So they are able to post this on their website after the APTT meeting and during and before, where they click and they can fill out their goal sheet, you know, via the internet. And then there's the parent feedback survey. And then if they've missed it, the teachers link their presentation on this one-stop shop page there.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
It's a very cool tool. And then we have our Watchdog Dads, which all of the
one of the best photos of the hallway has listed here
and
on their web page.
I thought this was so cool. It coming does.
Click the interest
They
form
just click
and
form and
fill it out.
Fill it out.
You can
And it
tell
has
a
suggestions
story or a joke. Record yourself reading a story. Give some positive
How they use their Watchdog
to our
Dad.
virtual students.
Here's one of our
Almost
parents
exactly a month before Christmas, the trees
that
arrived
read
for
to
the
my virtual
holiday.
students.
On the day
So had
We have our car rider
the
line.
Guy
And then there's
Friday live.
This is
Watchdog Dads.
The mornings instead of a full day.
Facebook
But
Live
you're all such
with
busy guys, and thank you for finding the time to be here.
Meg
It is
having
an
her
amazing program. So Tim,
questions and answers just like what you just did
our
with
moms,
us.
because
It's
kids love our
amazing.
moms,
Got a lot of
our volunteers.
feedback
There's
and
something about
information with them, so that's very cool. And then the input that was needed. We have our input.
How are we go on?
We have
and
the live
we'll
meeting,
have them
and
translated
live
as well.
meetings. We put the surveys on the in the live meetings. We have breakout rooms where they can go. Christy has made some Padlets that they have sent home, but that's the end. Except here we go, Team Awesome. There we go. And Christy, there's Christy. That is our high school teacher here. So that is all that I have to share.
Welcome to the Wayne County School System. Let's take a look at our family engagement program. Despite the pandemic, we have continued to engage families and all community stakeholders in the learning of our students. In December, we were able to present the Board of Education with our plaque from the Georgia Department of Education. We love and appreciate the continued support that we receive from our local Board of Education. You can find our award in the trophy case at the Board of Education complex. One of the ways that we were able to engage families outside of school while still learning is by creating a story walk in downtown Jessup. The book for this year is called The Scarecrow Dances. Let's take a look at some families as they work their way through the book. To match the theme of the scarecrow dances, our local Chamber of Commerce created a competition to allow businesses and schools to set up a display called Scarecrows Among Us. Let's check out our Scarecrow Among Us displays within our county. Here we have James E. Bacon Elementary School with a display showing Google Meets Classroom. Sure is a good take on hybrid learning. Next, we have Wayne Reeves showing the scarecrow dances. Our Wayne County School Nutrition Department with the Ghoul Bus. Scriven Elementary School photo with the Pirates. Our CASA Zoom meeting, Tri-County CASA Incorporated. Arthur Williams Middle School classroom with Leader in Me, we rise by lifting others. Esau and Migrant, my culture, my identity. Wayne County High School stand, students together against negative decisions. Odom Elementary School, where they're wild about learning. Jessup Elementary School, dream big. Georgia Hospice Care, give thanks, let's go fishing. Our community involvement. Here in Wayne County, we love every chance we get to partner up with community members. We had the opportunity to interview one of those members who works at the Georgia Hospice Care. You may have noticed their display which said, let's go fishing. Coincidentally, not only is she a member of our business community, she is also a parent. Let's take a listen to her input on what it was like to have a dual role.
Honor and pleasure of introducing our next guest speaker. I want to introduce you to Ariane Weldon, who is the Strategic Innovative Manager and Get Georgia Reading Campaign Director with the Georgia Family Connection Partnership. Ariane is going to come on today and talk to us all about the Get Georgia Reading program.
Good afternoon. So as a nation, state, and as individuals, we're all familiar with the current conversations regarding race, equity, and inclusion, and the systemic issues that COVID-19 has further brought to light. What if I told you that Georgia already started working on these issues? And that is the work to profoundly change the conversation about reading, and thus profoundly change literacy and life outcomes. And here's why. We analyzed the third grade reading scores and high school graduation rates of more than 98,000 students in Georgia. We found that students who read proficiently by the end of third grade had significantly higher graduation rates, almost 30 percentage points. But not only that, the results remain consistent when accounting for poverty, English language learner status, students with disabilities, and race. So these numbers and files, 17-year-old high school dropout, and there's that quote. That's the story on this kid right there. Wait, is that really the story on our kids? These numbers and files can't talk back. But what if they could? What if they told us we got the story wrong? In 2013, leaders across Georgia came together to take on early literacy and rewrite our story, not only as an education issue, but as an urgent priority for all who care about children's health, well-being, and the future of our state. For the first time, along with leadership from the governor's office, education policymakers joined together with health, child welfare, economic development, nonprofit partners at the state and community level, and everyone agreed we needed a new approach. We needed to change how we think, how we talk, how we act, and how we work together so that we move from talking about what kids need to answering a very different question. That question is, how might we create the conditions that must be in place so that all kids are on a path to literacy? The challenge put before us was to create a framework for action. Okay, we've created frameworks before, we've done that before, but there were two requirements. One, the framework must define the conditions that must be in place so that all kids are on a path to literacy. And that framework had to be applicable at the state, community, and child level to serve as the foundation for collective action. So the good news, the partners accepted the challenge and together took a new approach. First, we needed to expand our understanding of factors that affect a child's path to literacy.